All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are doing a massive deep dive, but we're on the clock. We're going to track the complete history of a guy whose name literally echoes across centuries, Salahuddin Ayyubi, or as you probably know him, Saladin. We've got just 3 minutes to cover his entire world-changing history, so start the clock and let's jump right in. So, how exactly does a quiet scholar become one of history's most legendary military commanders? It's kind of the ultimate historical irony. Born to a Kurdish family in Tikrit around 1137 CE, young Saladin wasn't out there chasing a crown or looking for battlefield glory. No, he was a pretty quiet intellectual. He was deeply devoted to Islamic sciences, literature, and history. But, well, history came calling.
Section 1. The Scholar Turned Unifier.
Now, you gotta remember, the 12th century Muslim world was heavily fractured into all these rival states. Salahuddin was serving under the leader nur-ud-din Zangi, and thanks to his absolutely brilliant leadership, he gets appointed Vizier of Egypt by 1169. He jumps right in and rapidly strengthens their economy. Fast forward to 1174, he takes the reins himself, founds the Ayyubid dynasty, and successfully unites Egypt, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, all under one single banner. It's an incredible rise.
Which brings us to Section 2, the Battle of Hattin. Okay, so with his empire now completely unified, Saladin spent years meticulously preparing to face the Crusader states. All of this preparation culminated in a date that totally changed the medieval world forever, July 1187. At the Battle of Hattin, Saladin's forces struck a massive, devastating blow. And listen, this wasn't just some minor tactical victory. It was a total dismantling. Hattin destroyed the main Crusader army, resulted in the capture of their top leaders, and strategically, it did exactly what he planned. It left the path to Jerusalem wide open. Moving on to Section 3, Recapturing Jerusalem with Mercy. After 88 long years, Saladin finally regained control of Jerusalem on October 2nd, 1187. But the real story here, it's the stark historical contrast. Back in 1099, the Crusader capture of the city ended in a completely brutal massacre. But in 1187, Saladin took a radically different path. He showed immense mercy. He actually allowed inhabitants to leave peacefully after paying a ransom. It was a real game changer for how warfare was conducted. Section 4, the Third Crusade Rivalry.
You can imagine, the fall of Jerusalem sent absolute shockwaves through Europe. It triggered a massive military mobilization. I mean, look at the heavyweights marching to retake the city. King Philip II, Frederick Barbarossa, and of course, famously, Richard the Lionheart. What followed was this fierce rivalry between Saladin and Richard, but it was uniquely defined by a deep mutual respect. Now, despite winning several battles, Richard simply could not retake the city. So what happened? The result was the Treaty of Jaffa in 1192. It was a pragmatic compromise that ended the bloodshed, keeping Jerusalem under Muslim control, but, and this is key, guaranteeing full access for Christian pilgrims.
And finally, Section 5, a Legacy of Justice.
You know, Salahuddin's impact went way beyond military strategy. Even his Christian enemies widely praised his knightly conduct. When he passed away in Damascus in 1193 at just 55 years old, a stunning truth came out. The ruler of this vast, incredibly wealthy empire died with almost zero personal wealth. Why? Because he had literally given it all away to charity.
So, summing it up, his achievements span the entire spectrum of leadership. He unified a divided world, fiercely protected holy sites, poured resources into public welfare, and became the ultimate global symbol of honorable conduct in times of war. It really leaves us with this thought: a conqueror who is remembered globally, not for his brutality, but for his mercy and his justice. In the dark history of medieval warfare, is there really a greater victory than that? Thanks for joining me on This Explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.